Hey everybody, I'm at the Cinemark 17 movie theater in Fayetteville, Georgia, and I just saw Joker with Joaquin Phoenix in a title role. He actually plays Arthur Fleck. Uh, this is a spoiler-laden review, probably unlike any other review you've seen to date, okay? Um, Joker is the most disturbing movie I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of movies. And I'm saying that if you haven't seen it before, I'm going to give you a pure, honest, unvarnished opinion. It is sick. Joker is, in this version, and I'm 57 years old, is the full, clean rendition of a character who is presented to us in popular culture as played by Cesar Romero in 1966. And that was with Adam West as Bruce Wayne. But this is not 1966 Batman. This is 2019. And what this movie reminds you of is the simple fact that the Joker killed people. And the Joker did it for sport. The Joker set up the murders with a murderous glee. What this presents is a man, Arthur Fleck, who lives with his mother. His mother is sick. He makes sure she's fed. He makes sure that she's bathed and cleaned. He cares for his mother. His mother has in her head this man she views as a hero. And that person is named Thomas Wayne. Now, mother keeps saying, hey, you know what, this Thomas Wayne person is going to do great things, he's going to help us, and he's going to save Gotham City, right? So he believes that, does Arthur. And then his mother sends this, or is about to send this letter off to Thomas Wayne, and Arthur does something that he really shouldn't have done, but he did it. He opened the envelope, he read the letter. And the letter referred to Arthur as Thomas Wayne's son. Arthur has a condition. Or so he believes. He laughs uncontrollably. He can't help himself. He does so in public. He has a card that he gives people that says, hey, I have this condition where I laugh. Please forgive me, I can't help it. And then give me the card back. He's taken 7 different medications, which he says don't help him. And he says he's never remembered a time when he was been happy. He sees a therapist. So he goes through this, and then when he watches television, he watches this fellow, Murray Franklin, played by Robert De Niro. And Murray Franklin is very much kind of like your Jack Parr or your Johnny Carson, the stylized NBC talk shows of the 60s and the 70s. So Arthur imagines himself on this show. He imagines himself being brought down by the audience, by Murray, being chummy with him, the audience loving him, everything else. It's played as if it actually happened, but it really didn't. It's in Arthur's head. So, meanwhile, his mother's talking about how great Thomas Wayne is, and Thomas Wayne is going to run for mayor, and Thomas Wayne is going to Save Gotham City. That's the constant refrain that he hears. Constant. So, what happens is that he goes out, he plays a clown, he plays a performance clown. But bad things happen to him. This is a city, a Gotham City, where there are a lot of poor people, people who aren't doing well. And it kind of something a mirror society today, if, in a sense. A lot of people have little, but a few people have a lot. Sound familiar? Thomas Wayne is one of those people. And the people who have little are sneeringly disdainful of those who have nothing, referring to them as, well, clowns, losers, and other unpleasant adjectives. So, what happens is that in his clown role, he holds up a sign, and really this is toward the opening, the part of the movie, these kids steal the sign, he chases them down, and they beat the crap out of him once they get him in an alley. It's an awful scene. That's how the movie opens. He gets on a train, he can't help but laugh. These three guys say, "Hey, what are you laughing at?" Right? And instead of understanding that he has a condition, these people who are really awful decide that they're going to beat him up. Now, by this time, because of these other bad things that have happened to him, one of his work colleagues says, "Hey, you know what? I'm giving you this, and I want you to keep it. It's a gun in a bag." And so he dances around with it. He actually shoots it. Often his mother's like, "What are you doing?" And he turns out the television to mask the fact that he's got this thing, right? Okay. So what happened is that he used that gun to shoot these guys on the subway. He didn't shoot just more than once. He chased one guy down and made absolutely certain that the fellow was thoroughly deceased, if you will. And he goes into, takes off his clown mask, goes into hiding as his normal self. Meanwhile, detectives are trying to figure out what happened. And to make a long story short, they find their way to him with questions. They also find their way to his mother. And so he doesn't know this. So as he's returning home, he finds his mother. And he returns home from, he's doing these comedy routines and not going well. And in one of them, he discovers that Murray Franklin has found his routine where he bombed. He put it on his television show. He was on national television. No one asked him for permission to use the video. It was just on Murray Franklin's show. So anyway, his mother goes to the hospital from a stroke. The stroke is because the detectives are asking questions about her son. He goes to see his mother, and he takes with him a woman that he met who was actually on the same floor, on the elevator. He has her son made this kind of sign like, "Oh, it's blowing my mind," and she made this sign like, "Blows my mind." He took the sign another way, but returned it. Then one day he decides he's going to just sort of literally break in her apartment, kiss her, and that leads to a relationship. She becomes, her name is Sophie, his girlfriend. And so they are in the hospital later. Mother is there for some time, and he's curious. He wants to find out who this Thomas Wayne is. So he finds his way to Bruce Manor. He does a magic trick in front of a little kid that turns out to be Bruce Wayne. A man comes up and asks him to stop. That man is Alfred Pennyworth. And so Arthur says, hey, he just wants to see Thomas. He's his dad. Albert Pennyworth, excuse me. Albert says, hey, you know what? This is part one, folks. I'm gonna make part two. I'm gonna stop part one right here.